Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to do something a little different for this video, just to let you all know that I'm also still here and I'm still working on the original. And I've had a lot going on, so it's really not just me avoiding doing it. I've just had so much going on with my wife passing away and me trying to move, and I had other stuff involved as well. So this video really is to George Lucas, and you're more than welcome to listen to it and listen to the whole video, share it, do whatever. But I wanted to go over some points about him, so again, it's kind of to you too. So first off, there's several interviews with this man on Charlie Rose where he calls religion propaganda. Then he turns around and says he makes movies from propaganda. So then he even called, when he was talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark in one of the videos with Charlie Rose, and he went into Star Wars and the Ark of, he called it all propaganda. So all your religion is propaganda. So people accuse him of being a Christian. He's not a Christian, first off, and then he puts the devil in the cantina in the first Star Wars and never ever mentions God throughout any of the Star Wars movies. You think this man's great? Again, you're wrong. He's not a good person. I'm not even going to go into this in this video what he did to me, and he did do something to me. So if you want to know about that, go to my other videos. I will talk about how he has plagiarized everything in Star Wars. Practically came from Star Trek, Lee Brackett, Edmund Hamilton, Gustav Holst, and me. But again, I'm not talking about that in this video, and other places. The Terry McGovern guy who was in his THX 1138 movie coined the term Wookiee, and Chewbacca, of course, is a Wookiee. I don't hate this man, okay? So I want to get that out of the way. I don't hate him. He's bad and he's wrong, and he's never done the right thing. And he claims in those Charlie Rose interviews that he wanted to leave his children a legacy. What legacy has he left them? On top of the fact that, why did he sell it to Disney when he's still trying to control it? Because I believe that they came across some kind of evidence, or they had something on him. They forced the sale, and they tricked him into selling it to him, or they forced it, or they would expose him. And I don't know if he's involved in any of that pedophilia or rape or whatever that's going on in Hollywood, drugs, who knows what he's involved in. But he's in something, because they got Star Wars because of it. And if you have any doubt of that, why did I don't sell a car and then ask the people to let me see how they're fixing it? I mean, come on, think about it. They shall transform themselves into angels of light. Why is the evil the only thing able to use light in his movie? Lee Brackett wrote most of his movie, but I don't think she wrote that. I heard they also wrote 6 episodes of Star Wars. Okay, what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to interject in here a list of things not created by George Lucas for Star Wars. And I want you to go down and see this whole list. Now, if you see that some of them have 2 marks, because I did the name and the suit, or name and design, you see for like the Falcon. So we're going to start on those right now. So Han is not created by George Lucas. It's from Lee Brackett. So Ben's not created by George Lucas. Kessel was not created by George Lucas. So here's the name, Falcon. And then there's a Russian prototype submarine hunter called the Bartini-Beria VVA-14. The Millennium Falcon name or design was not created by George Lucas. Tractor beams, not created by George Lucas. Lightsabers, not created by George Lucas. Ula the Twi'lek, who was the dancing green girl in Jabba's palace, was taken from Vina, the Orion slave girl from Star Trek. Admiral Akbar. He was also taken from the design of the character from Star Trek called the Antedian Dignitary. Bosk, the bounty hunter that looks like a dinosaur, was taken from the Gorn from Star Trek. .3PO kind of bears a similarity to Otho and Greg from Lee Brackett and Edmund Hamilton's books. They have the same characteristics as the characters Otho and Greg from their books, and they bicker and fight, and there's even several scenes in the books that are just like what you saw in Star Wars. So now on Darth, I gave him half a line for the name Darth because their characters' name were Zarth, Barth, and Narth, and none were exactly Darth. But then there was Dark Erlich, but then the suit was exactly described in one of the books by Edmund Hamilton and Lee Brackett. So for the suit, I gave him no credit for that. Let's go to Chewbacca next. Here we have Chewbacca. The design was clearly described by Edmund Hamilton and Lee Brackett in one of their books, and the name was created by Terry McGovern, who starred in THX 1138 as described in the little strip article there. Even the Star Wars name came from Edmund Hamilton and Lee Brackett. He didn't create that either. So let's look at the Force. The Force. Lee Brackett, Edmund Hamilton. As you see there, they had several books that had a force or telekinetic force in it. They called it the Force in one book, but I had not read that when I was 7 years old in 1974. So they got 2 X's. George got 2 X's for that. He did not create the Force either. Okay, for Sith, I gave him half a line because according to that Akira Kurosawa's book or movie, The Hidden Fortress, George Lucas tried to get the rights to the Flash Gordon series, and he couldn't get the rights to it, so he copied the synopsis from Akira Kurosawa's and just replaced some of the words. If you look at those 2 pictures, but nowhere in either one of those manuscripts did you see, in the synopsis, did you see Jedi Knights or the Force. Which by the time, and within a year, he had worked with Lee Brackett and Edmund Hamilton, or Lee Brackett anyway, and I think Edmund had already passed away. So I gave him half a line for that. He did not create Sith. I'm almost 100% sure that was also Lee Brackett. Sorry to tell you, but the soundtrack was also almost entirely plagiarized from Gustav Holst's Planets Suite. If you doubt it, go listen to Mars first, because that's the one that has the most soundtracks. That really, the most, notes and stuff that just sounds. All of the Planet Suite sounds like parts of Star Wars. You have to listen to the whole thing. It's kind of long, but if you get the time, look at it. And I'm just going to go on and go to Jedi Knight here. But I told you I wasn't going to talk about me, so we're skipping that. He did not invent that either. How about Yoda? As you see, Yoda was taken from the Voynich manuscript, so he also did not create Yoda. I left room for a couple more boxes, but you didn't really think he invented Satan, did you? But he did put him in the canteen in the beginning of Star Wars, and he never ever mentions God. So again, y'all call him a Christian. He puts Satan in the cantina, but never mentions God. Not only that, he turns around and takes the Force, which he knew in 1974 was the will of God. And that's not even what he learned from Lee Brackett and Edmund Hamilton. And again, I'm not going to go into my story. I lived around the corner from his cousin. And if you still doubt my story by now, you have to be pretty stupid. Run down the list one more time. Here's the list of things not created by George Lucas for Star Wars. So, after all of this, tell me, we got half a line for Darth's name and half a line for Sith? Past that, I mean, you got all of that. What's left in Star Wars? I mean, some of the ships and the... Who else did he borrow from? I'm just wondering. This is just what I know. Okay? And again, I didn't put my story in here. I just put all of this. You tell me, what's left in Star Wars that George Lucas created? I'll bet you one more thing. I'll bet you when he did finally write that first draft for the movie, after not the synopsis in 1973, but the draft that he wrote that had top secret written on it. I know some of you've probably seen it. I'll lay you money that he did not release that until after May of 1974 or later, because he did not have Jedi Knights and the Force. He had a simile of the Force from Lee Brackett and Edmund Hamilton, but he did not have the Force or Jedi Knight. So there you go. More proof. You never saw any mention of Jedi or the Force, as I said, in the 1973 synopsis that was written. And if you want to learn a lot more, go to the Star Killers channel and watch Did Lee Brackett Ghostwrite Star Wars? I know things he doesn't know. I've put them all in here. And there's a lot more on his channel too that I didn't add. So again, go watch Star Killers, subscribe to his channel. Thank you. What did I just tell you? I just now seen this the very first time. What did I tell you? May of 1974, because he did not get Jedi Knights until April of 1974. That's why I knew he could not have released it until in May or later. I got you, George.